Now we will see the talent management practices, right, at the PepsiCo, and then how it has been done. So, value statement of PepsiCo, introduction, that is how the talent sustainability framework is there, and their career growth model. So, when we are talking about the value statement of a PepsiCo is there about the talent management practices, the corporate value statements, that is the core of the business strategy. What is that? The core corporate value statement is our commitment to deliver sustained growth through empowered people acting with responsibility and trust. Now you see, that is what we have studied in the theory, and what has been the statement here is there. So, what we have talked about, that is we have talked about that new employee that has to be empowered, they should be welcomed, they should be a part of the family, right. So, that onboarding is becoming the very important as per the vision of the organization, and that vision of the organization, that will be the our commitment to deliver the sustained growth naturally. Organization is looking for what? Organization is looking for the sustained growth is there, and through empowered people. Empowered people means that is the organization has given them the empowerment. That is okay, you go ahead and take decisions, and acting with the responsibility and trust. So, what talent is looking for? That is the responsibilities they are looking for. They give us the responsibility, empowered us, we will do the job. That is a talent's the features, right. And in that case, if the somebody fails, so trust is there. That there is no intention to fail, but he is a new, he has to learn, right. So, definitely these are the types of the incidences, they are the part of these practices. So, core of the business strategy is performance with purpose, right. That is the how that performance with purpose is there, and in that case the whatever we are doing, even if we are doing the mistakes, the purpose is to benefit the organization. It was not done for any personal interest. Rather than it is done, that risk has been taken for the benefit to the organization. Growth and development of our people and our leaders presents a critical component to our success. This is very important. So, here it is the whatever the growth and developments are there. Because organization, the professional organizations know, that is they will grow, organizations will grow only when people will grow, and when people will grow, organization will grow. People also knows, that is when organization will grow, we will again grow. It is a vicious circle. So, growth of the individuals, growth of the organization, so they are dependent on each other. It is not an isolation that people will grow, organization shrinks, no. The organization grow, people's growth is suppressed, no. It has to be working together, and then the growth and development of our people and our leaders, that is the critical components of the Pepsi's success. Talent sustainability framework, how it works here. PepsiCo is known for being an academic company, known for producing leaders that go on to successful careers in other companies. Academy, it is an academic company. Those who have worked in this company Pepsi, then definitely they develop that talent, that nurturing talent, that leadership qualities, and then they get the opportunities, and then they are leading very successfully. When it comes to the talent development, then their role, their responsibility is very much accepted, and then it has been the concept, that is this is the academy which develops the leaders. PepsiCo approaches talent management from within the context of our talent sustainability framework. So, there is requirement of a sustainability framework. If there is sustainability framework is there, then only they will be able to survive. Talent sustainability is broader than talent management. So, why? Because talent sustainability means it is a continuous flow. Talent management means a particular focus. So, in spite of the vision is not narrow, vision is wider. Vision is not only the sustainability rather than the broader than the talent management is there. So, it is there. So, what is the talent sustainability framework? Now, I have talked in previous session one terminology, and it is the inclusive leadership. So, this inclusive culture, that inclusive leadership is a part of this inclusive culture. Culture is a practice, and what is a practice? Practice is a team building and inclusive leadership. So, therefore, that framework, whenever they are having the talent acquisition, after talent acquisition, the talent management and development of the talent is there, acquisition and development, right, and this is involving the inclusive culture, and that is the PepsiCo University is there. So, theoretically, talent acquisition is the finding the right talent when needed and delivering a consistent candidate experience across the attraction, recruitment, hiring and onboarding process. I am sure now you are comfortable with these terminologies: talent attraction, recruitment and talent hiring and the onboarding process. Talent management and development is there, building bench strength for the key leadership positions and delivering the talent development opportunities and capabilities for employees. So, these particular that key leadership positions, right, that is the route, right, that is the flow, because that will deliver the talent development opportunities. So, at the leadership position, when you find that is that particular authority is the basically interested in developing the talent, in attracting the talent for the organization, it is nurturing the talent, it is a development of the talent and then becoming the academy of talent. Let them go and do the leadership at other place, they go like ambassadors, right. So, therefore, these key leadership positions, they deliver the talent development opportunities and capabilities for the employees. PepsiCo University, developing a broadly accessible learning environment. That is what type of the learning environment is there, and course curriculum, that is the teaching them, right, and making them understanding in support of global capability and employee learning. So, the PepsiCo University, it tries to develop the environment related to the philosophy of the Pepsi. And what is the philosophy we are talking here is that is the nurturing the talent, inclusive leadership, and therefore, the PepsiCo University, it tries to develop a particular course curriculum which will be helping the nurturing acquisition, nurturing development and compensation for the talent. The inclusive culture, which I was talking about, the word inclusive is there, shaping the PepsiCo culture and reinforcing the behaviors required to support the talent, right. So, therefore, the employees are already working there, and those employees they require that is the support from the management, so that the talent of the present and the future, so they reflect that multicultural, multi-generational and the global needs. A very serious efforts are made in inclusive culture, so that this is the multicultural and multi-generation, so these global needs are fulfilled. Then the career growth model. The PepsiCo career growth model is a foundational model that describes how we approach building a career at PepsiCo. So, therefore, this company that tries, that is the when you are acquiring the talent, now naturally what we want to get them developed, the growth and talent is there, and the model was created to articulate to the employees. So, of what is that model is the career growth model is there. So, earlier we have talked about, that is the how the PepsiCo is working with the inclusive leadership. Now, we talk about the how the PepsiCo is developing a model of the career growth model. What factors leaders in HR consider when making the internal selection decisions? So, first and foremost is, that is whenever internal selection decisions are there, what are the parameters, what are the benchmarking practices, that what are the factors which affects the internal select decision is there, and therefore, that is the HR and the management that decides about it. How employees should plan for their individual development with their managers and on their own. This is also very important, because the internal development, internal employees development, that is has to be very much focus one, and when it is a focus one, then you are able to develop, making the development with their managers. It reflects our fundamental cultural belief that all PepsiCo employees should have access to development. So, this career growth model is universal for all the employees in the organization. This is not only specifically targeted to some of them or few of them, rather than it reflects the fundamental cultural belief that all PepsiCo employees, they should have the access to the development is there. So, how this career growth model works? So, here first and foremost is, that is the proven results, business and people, that leadership what it requires? It requires the business and people. Here we find the leadership capabilities, and therefore, in that case it is the, they are getting these leadership capabilities by the all the employees, those who are working within the company and developing them, right, giving them the opportunities, that is the how they can develop those leadership capabilities are there. Then the functional excellence, the what type of the work they are doing. They might be working on the different verticals, for example, finance, marketing, HR, operations, IT, right, and so many, commercial and all. So, therefore, that functional excellence, that is always first condition, dear friends, that whenever we are talking about this type of these companies where the overall development and excellence is the criteria, and then in that case it is a functional excellence is the minimum requirement. Knowing the business code, and therefore, also having the knowledge about, that is where is there are the strengths and weaknesses, where are the positivity, where is the negativity into the company's businesses. Then critical experiences, certain experiences which during the job which have been the very unique one, or either or decisions, that is the profit or loss decisions, and then how organization have taken those decisions are there. So, here when we talk about these dimensions, leadership capability, functional excellence, knowing the business cold and the critical experience, all these create the opportunities, because they have focus on the business and people. Here we are talking about the people development. So, leadership capabilities is becoming very, very important. When you are talking about the business, the functional excellence, that is making the more important, and then knowing the business code about the business, and then the critical experiences. So, whenever these type of the issues are there, that will create the opportunities for the long term career growth. So, critical growth model, proven results, both delivering business results and people results, which are very equally, are required to get you in the game. Results are measured by our performance management process and reinforces the cultural emphasis on growth. So, performance measurement will be there, and then it will be giving the emphasis on that whatever the cultural aspects are there. Business growth creates opportunities for the individuals to grow as well. As I mentioned, it is always two, individual growth and organizational growth, not only organizational growth, not only individual growth. The leadership capabilities in that model, that is the competencies and behaviors that employees are expected to demonstrate. These behaviors are tied in nature, that is there is a set of behavior for all employees that reflect PepsiCo values, a set for the middle level leaders and a set specifically tailored to the senior leaders is there, customized, tailored means customized here, and are measured through over 360-degree feedback processes. So, here in the leadership capabilities, leaders they themselves have to judge, that is whether they fulfill those 360-degree parameters or not, and if they fulfill, then the feedback process that will help to develop the leadership capabilities. The functional excellence describes the basic building blocks of the knowledge for any given role. These are supported through the various functional competency models and training curriculum. Now, here it is important, that is these type of these developments, organizational developments. Those organizational developments through the first and foremost is the functional competency models. Dear friends, we have to understand the talent has to demonstrate the excellence in the functional competency. What is that functional competency? That you learn from the different sources, maybe from lecture sessions, maybe from social media, maybe from the books, journals, exercises, business games, etc. But nothing can be compensated than the functional competency. Functional competency. If you are able to do your function as per the requirement of the organization, it is done, and naturally with the period of time there will be certain training requirements. So, training curriculum is there. For example, in sales, marketing and finance, this is becoming important. The key development messages to employees is that we expect functional knowledge to be more of a focus for development, especially it is a task. If you are excellent in task, you will be having the focus of development. If you are weak in your task, there will be problems, speed will be different. So, my submission is that is always focus on functional knowledge to be more of a focus for development. What is my functional knowledge and what I have to do? For example, through job rotations or the new assignments are there in this particular job earlier in one's career. Knowing the business code means having a deep understanding of the various PepsiCo business models and go to market capabilities. Know your organization, know different business models, how the organization works, and if you want to continue in that organization, you have to adopt it, you have to be enough smart, right. So, therefore, deep understanding of the various PepsiCo business models and go to market capabilities. PepsiCo's distinctly different divisions, product lines and operating models It has proven extremely useful to have this element codified in the model and has been used at various level of decision making. Naturally, whenever we are talking about the extremely useful to have this element, right, and has been used at various levels of decision making. For example, the move to retain Mike White, CEO of the PepsiCo International, when India and Indian Indra Nooyi became chairman and CEO, was all about retaining his deep knowledge of the business is there. I always tell the students that is the move to retain the Mike White, CEO of the PepsiCo International, when Indra Nooyi became the chairman and CEO, was all about retaining his deep knowledge of the business is there, and definitely that right, to retain the Mike White, it is because of his the knowledge of the business is there. And I always say that is knowing the business cold, nothing can be compensated. Critical experiences is the last component of the critical growth model. PepsiCo believes strongly that providing individuals with the right set of experiences, this is also very much important. Like you see, that is the many people with their different academic backgrounds, when they join any organization, they find that is their academic background and that knowledge is not workable into the what job has been offered, and that is a very sad situation. So, here it is becoming very important, that is the individuals with the right set of experiences is the very important, is the one of the most effective ways of developing talent. So, this is to be kept in mind. The focus one, understanding what is my job role, what I am doing, what is I am expected to do, what I will be expected to do in future, what is expected my role as a responsibility as a subordinate, superior and colleagues. So, therefore, that will be helping in developing the talent. We created a unique set of critical experiences for PepsiCo to allow individuals to map their prior experiences and to provide a common language. So, therefore, map their prior experiences, mapping like in the case of the knowledge management, when we talk about the knowledge portal, knowledge window, right, and therefore, there will be the knowledge center in the within the organization itself. So, map their prior experiences and provide a common language. So, that is about the knowing about the different way the jobs are done, that is a common languages to be done around those experiences, attain higher leadership roles. Your top management and yourself, they should speak the common language. If they speak the common language, they will attain the high leadership goals, because they are in tune up with the top management in the organization. So, by the functions also, by the language also, and therefore, that will be the leadership role will be there. Although the CGM is relatively straightforward career growth model in nature, its launch and subsequent institutionalized have proven to be quite successful over the past few years, right. So, therefore, it seems to be more focused towards the performance, but it has been seen in the long term, that is this has become the very successful model over the last few years. It has become the unifying model for training, career development discussions, people planning and functional career frameworks, and is now part of the formal lexicon. So, therefore, in that case it is the very important that how do you train, develop their career and making the use of the people for the functional career framework. Once that has been made clear, right, these are the activities, then definitely we can develop a model successfully. It is used both internally and externally for recruiting, and although it is not necessarily formulaic or prescriptive, it does in fact represent how PepsiCo leaders think through the decision on talent. So, therefore, this type of these represents when they do, right, and then it also guide the leaders of the PepsiCo, that is, this is a model of the organization and we have to function accordingly, and therefore, they think through the decisions on talent, and these cultural practices, right, is this development of the talent people, that will be giving you the real idea, that is how through decision on the talent the PepsiCo is doing. The second major development framework in use at PepsiCo is a talent management model. It is intended to define and communicate how we believe people are developed. Now, with the career growth model and this model, talent management model, now we will see that is really people have developed or not. This is typically used with a more segmented set of talent, such as the executive population, high potentials, what numbers are there, and the key feeder pools are there like the hiring managers, often in conjunction with the targeted leadership development programs and our people planning process. The talent management model outlines the three phases. Identify, the process by which individuals are identified as having the additional potential that they belong to the next level on more senior roles in the organization. Getting this right, that is the assessment of the potential, is one of the biggest challenges in talent management. That is where is the talent is, that is the potential assessment. We have discussed this process earlier also. At PepsiCo, this is typically done through the people planning process, where talent is systematically reviewed and calibrated at successive levels in the organization. All the way up to the final reviews with the CEOs are done. Second is the develop readiness. This is based on the understanding that 70% of development occurs on the job in the current role. So, therefore, when we are talking about the internal talent identification, that internal talent identification that occurs in the job or the current role is there. 20% comes from the coaching, feedback and mentoring, right. So, that 70% of the development job in the current role, 20% comes from the coaching, feedback and mentoring of that particular talented employees, and 10% is derived from the formal training is there. So, this way 70, 20 and 10, right. So, it goes for the development of the readiness as a succession planning. The third and last one is, that is the movement. This phase of the model is easier said than accomplished, right. So, therefore, how it is becoming easier to said rather than the accomplished. If finding or identifying high potential is one of the most difficult aspect of the talent management, right. So, therefore, the assessment and potential appraisal, that is not that easy. It requires the special skills, knowledge and practices, and we would argue it is. It is difficult, but we argue that it is. Actually, moving them is the other, particularly in a proactive and playful manner. At PepsiCo, this is done during the game planning process, where we plan for the successive moves, capture domino moves, roles that become open and now need to be filled because a high potential has been moved out to a new position, track open roles and note other issues, such as people who need to move somewhere else because they are blocking a key developmental role. So, this is the just we have to see, that is we are planning for the successive moves, capture domino moves are there, and because high potential employees, that they have to be identified and they have to move to a new position. When they have to move to the new position, then only you can track open roles and note other issues, that what is there in that particular prescriptions, and that is becoming the who need to move somewhere else, their talent which you are identifying the high potential here, right, And then one of the most difficult aspects of talent management is there. Once you identified, now you are giving them the roles, right, and therefore in that roles become open and now need to file, right, that is they are performing, but that when we are taking open roles are there, there might be the other issues such as the people who need to move somewhere else. It is possible, that is there is a requirement at somewhere place as per their capabilities. So, their capabilities and the requirement of the organization, that has to be matched, and if it is matching, then it will be making the certain move where the developmental role is there. So, therefore, this is all about, that is how PepsiCo companies with the help of these three models, that is the career growth model is there, then the talent development management model is there, and the exploring the acquisition, development, growth and assessment. And naturally, when we are talking about the academy, or therefore, or we are talking about the universities, PepsiCo universities, right, and what is most important for this, that is the inclusive. Inclusive nurture the talent with the inclusive leadership. Whenever we are talking about the inclusive leadership is there, then the talent acquisition and inclusive leadership, definitely that will identify the potential roles of the employees, and when potential roles are identified, they will be successful. Maybe at current position, as we have seen in the previous slide, it might be in the next role where they will be fitted into, and this way we develop, nurture and onboard the employees. Thank you.